Okay, so a lot of us got Ideogram completely wrong, and I'll be straight with you. Ideogram does not behave like a model that wants one long poetic sentence full of vibes. It behaves much more like a structured visual brief. The GitHub repo states that the model was trained on structured JSON captions, and that JSON-style prompts give better control over layout, spatial placement, and style fidelity. But that does not mean you need to become a Shaolin monk of JSON prompting just to get good images out of it. What we are going through in this video is how to get genuinely strong images from this not-so-free model using 4 different prompting methods. Let's get into it. Just a heads up, the Ideogram prompt builder just got an update while I was busy with this video, but it's still basically the same. All it added was a few extra bells and whistles. You will still be able to follow along. So this is the plan. We are going to look at text-to-image and image guide generation using the 4 prompting methods. And after that, we are going to go deeper into how prompting for Ideogram actually works. Because once you understand what the model is trying to do, the whole thing becomes way less mysterious. The workflow is split into 2 main sections. There is a text-to-image group, and then there is an image guide group. The text-to-image group is made up of a few smaller groups, and I want to walk through them properly because if you are new to this, you should not have to guess what each part is doing. At the top, we have the preset group. This is where you choose the quality of the image. There are 3 options here: quality, default, and turbo. Quality uses 48 steps, default uses 20 steps, and turbo uses 12 steps. So quality gives the model more time to work. Default is the middle ground, and turbo is there when you want faster results. Next is the model group. This contains 2 diffusion model nodes. One is for the Ideogram model, and the other is for the unconditioned model. Below that, we have the load clip node for the Qwen3VL model, and then the load VAE node for the Flux2 VAE. After that, we have the 3 prompt groups. The first one is the manual JSON or regular prompt section. This is where you can type the prompt yourself, either as normal text, structured natural language, or JSON. Then we have KeyJai's prompt builder, which is basically the star of the show in this workflow. And then we have the JSON prompt builder, which uses Google's Gemma 4 model to help turn your idea into a structured prompt. After the prompt groups, we have the image size section. This includes the image resolution selector, the Flux2 latent node, and some math expressions that help the workflow build the correct latent size. Then we have the sampling group, and finally the preview node, where we actually see the generated image. Below that we have the image guide group. This is mostly the same setup, but the difference is that now we have an upload image node. The prompt builder here is also a bit different in the way it works, and we will look at that properly when we get to image guide generation. Above both of these groups, there is a download group. That download group already has the models you need set inside it. All you have to do is bypass the other 2 groups and run the workflow. The reason I added that is simple. I had some issues downloading the models when I used RunPod, and this download group makes it much easier to get the models without all the back and forth. Now the big question is this model actually as good as people say it is? Or is this just another round of internet clickbait? By now, you already know this model is not open source. It is open weight, so it is not free for commercial use. But let's be honest, since when has that stopped some of you from coming up with the usual shenanigans? What I want to test is how it handles the kinds of things Ideogram should be good at. Poster design, logo creation, product mockups, signs, banner design, labels, and social media graphics. Okay, so let's start with poster design. For poster design, I have the following manual prompts. What I want to create is a movie poster of a Gundam robot with text at the top and the release date at the bottom. I am using 3 prompts for this. One is a simple out-of-the-box prompt, the kind of prompt you might use with any other image model. The second one is a structured natural language prompt, and the third one is a JSON prompt. The normal prompt works surprisingly well. The structured prompt also looks amazing, and the JSON prompt gives us another strong result, with a bit more control over how the poster is supposed to be arranged. So already we can see the model is strong. But now I want to see what happens when we use KeyJai's prompt builder and try to get the same kind of result with a more guided workflow. What I do here is break the normal prompt down into 3 parts. For the high-level description, I copy the first part of the prompt and paste it into the high-level description field. For the background, I copy the background part of the prompt and paste it into the background field. I also copy the text part into the high-level description, even though I can add the text manually below. I am doing this just to make extra sure the model understands what kind of poster I am trying to create. For the style section, I use the art style. In the art style field, I copy and paste hyper-detailed cinematic 3D mecha concept art. For the aesthetics, I use high-contrast realistic metal textures from the original prompt. For the medium, I set it to poster. Now, I want to make sure the model follows my style colors, so I click the plus icon 3 times, and then I change the colors to red, blue, and white. The next thing I want to do is arrange the objects and the text in the poster. So I create a box and add the robot description from the prompt into that box. Then I create a second box and add huge Gatling gun as the description. At the top, I create another box, but this time I make sure I change it from object to text. Then I add the return of the overlords as the text, and for the description, I add metallic rustic with bullet holes. Then I create a box below, change it to text again, and this time I add the text from the prompt, "Only the strong will kneel," plus the release date. I also add the same text description from the prompt, so the model understands the typography direction. And the result is a crazy beautiful poster. The only issue is the text is a bit mangled. So let me try something. I remove all mention of the text from the high-level description, and I only add the text manually using the boxes. And now this follows my instructions much better. It gives the text that metallic rustic style with bullet holes, which is exactly what I asked for. So the lesson here is simple. Maybe skip the text in the high-level prompt and add it manually using the boxes. Let the high-level description explain the scene, and let the text boxes handle the actual text. The bottom text is still a bit gibberish, but that is fine for this test. The important thing is that the model is clearly listening more closely when the text is treated as its own element. Now let's look at the JSON builder with Gemma 4. What I do here is take the prompt as it is, drop it into the JSON builder, and then run the workflow. This is supposed to give me a structured prompt automatically using the Gemma 4 LLM model. And this is interesting, it takes a few liberties. Look at the text, it is kind of pushed back, almost like it has depth. That part is actually cool, but it completely misses the whole poster idea. Let me change the system prompt to my own. Let's try again. This time, it follows the original intent much better. Now let's see how the model handles all the other categories before we move into image guide generation. Okay, so let's look at image guide generation. This is not image to image. It takes an image and uses that image as a guide to generate the output. That means the input image helps steer the result, but the output is not supposed to be an exact copy of the input. For example, I am using an image of a woman standing in front of a car. I also make sure the resolution is set to widescreen, and I leave the quality at high. The instruction I give is, change the woman to a man wearing a cowboy hat. And as you can see, this is not image to image. We are using the input image as a guide, but we are not getting exactly what is in the input image. It is more like an approximation of the image, rebuilt through the model. Now let's say, turn this image into an anime art style image. It does change the art style, but it keeps the cowboy hat and the man intact. That tells me something important. It did not create a completely new prompt. It used the old prompt and changed the style. I made a few changes to the text generate prompt, and it started following the instructions better. The main thing I changed was the temperature. I set the temperature to 0.3, so it follows the instructions a bit more closely. Now let's try a different image. This time, I use an image of a woman with a sword, and I change the prompt to make her holding a lightsaber, make the atmosphere red mist, and the results are amazing. The real question is, when will you actually need to use this? Honestly, I do not know. But it is a cool little thing to play with, and it does show how much control you can get when the image is used as a guide instead of trying to force the model from text alone. Next, let's move on to mastering prompting in Ideogram. And here is the first thing I would say. If you simply want to prompt without learning what a structured prompt or a JSON prompt is, then the best thing to do is use KeyJai's prompt builder. It has been 10 out of 10 each time. So if all you want is the easiest way to get strong images, this is where we part ways. But if you are curious about how to create your own prompts that work consistently, then let's keep going. Let's use the Gundam prompt as the example. When you look at the prompt, it can look scary. It looks like this giant wall of information, but it is actually much simpler than it looks. Do not look at it as one giant messy prompt. Look at it as a prompt that has been split into multiple jobs. Ideogram works with plain text, but because the model was trained around structured JSON captions, it gets much better when your prompt behaves more like a layout brief than a random description. So when I say structured natural language, this is what I mean. I am still writing the prompt in normal English, but I am organizing it the same way the JSON wants to think. First, I describe the whole image, then I lock the style. Then I describe the background, and then I break the scene into separate elements. So even before I touch JSON, I am already building the image like a designer, instead of throwing vibes at the model and hoping it figures everything out. Now look at the first paragraph of the Gundam prompt. In one block, I tell the model this is a cinematic vertical sci-fi war movie poster. I tell it the hero is a Gundam-inspired mecha. I tell it the redesign idea is a tank machine hybrid. I tell it the setting is a ruined battlefield city. And I tell it the feeling is an apocalyptic invasion. That one paragraph solves all the big decisions first. The model does not have to guess what kind of image this is, what the main subject is, where it is happening, or what emotion it should carry. All of that is already locked in. Then we move into style, and this is where I messed up when I used Ideogram the first time. I would say things like cinematic, detailed, epic, and stop there. That is too vague. With Ideogram, it helps to split style into parts. Aesthetics is the mood. Lighting is how the light behaves. Medium is what kind of image this actually is. Art style is how the surfaces, rendering, and details should look. And color palette is your color steering. So instead of saying make it blue and red, you are giving the model the exact palette story. You are telling it how the colors should function inside the image. Then comes the background. And this is very important. Do not dump everything into the background. The background is the shell of the scene. Sky, smoke, broken buildings, collapsed roads, atmosphere, ruined city, all of that belongs in the background. But anything else that matters, like the cannon, the shield, the missile pod, the title text, the tagline, or the release date, should become its own element. Elements are where you stop writing one prompt and start directing the layout. The robot is one element because it is the hero. The cannon is another element because it changes the silhouette. The missile pod is another because it adds threat and asymmetry. The claw, the shield, the rubble, the flares, the title, the tagline, the release date, and the bottom credit line all get broken out because they all have different jobs inside the poster. That is why the prompt feels controlled. Nothing important is left as an afterthought. And if words need to appear in the image, do not bury them inside a normal description and hope for the best. Give the words their own text element. In Ideogram, text and objects are not treated the same way. The text field is the actual copy you want rendered. The description field is where you describe how that copy should look. This includes things like bold, condensed, metallic, glowing, scratched, rustic, damaged. Whatever the typography needs to be goes in the description. So the sentence itself goes in the text field and the typography direction goes in the description field. Okay, so let's move on to B boxes, because this is where people can get confused. Ideogram boxes are not X and Y, as in width and height. They use top, left, bottom, and right. Officially, that is Y minimum, X minimum, Y maximum, and X maximum. The scale runs from 0 to 1000, so when I put a box like 20, 60, 145, 940, I am telling the model, give me a long title strip near the top of the poster. When I give the main mecha a much bigger central box, I am telling the model that this is the thing that should dominate the frame. B boxes are not just placement, they are hierarchy. They tell the model what the eye should hit first, second, third, and last. Title at the top, giant hero in the center, tagline underneath, then release line and credits at the bottom. That is poster design logic written as numbers. Let's put it like this. A B box of 0, 0, 1000, 1000 represents the whole image. The first 0 is the top border. The second 0 is the left border. The first 1000 is the bottom border. And the second 1000 is the right border. Let's use QGIS Prompt Builder to explain the B box of 20, 60, 145, and 940. The 20 moves the top border 20 units down from the top edge. The 60 moves the left border 60 units to the right from the left edge. The 145 places the bottom border 145 units down from the top edge. And the 940 places the right border 940 units from the left edge. And this is exactly why I say manual B-box calculation is impractical for everyday use. It is powerful, but it is not fun to do by hand every single time. That is why QGIS Prompt Builder is the best way to use this model. But even if you use the Prompt Builder, you still need to understand that the prompt itself needs to be structured. That little bit of understanding helps a lot. If you master that part, then you do not need to manually build JSON prompts or spend your life doing B-box calculations. So what is the difference between the structured natural prompt and the JSON prompt? Basically, it is the same idea with different precision. The structured natural prompt is the readable draft. It is where you think like a human art director. The JSON prompt is the locked version. It is where every important part gets its own slot. Every important word gets literal text treatment, every rectangle gets coordinates, and every color family gets formalized. Same concept. The JSON just gives the model less room to freestyle. So the workflow is this. Start with a normal idea. Turn it into structured natural language. Then let a prompt builder or LLM help you turn that into JSON. Or, instead of using an LLM, use the prompt builder to turn your structured idea into JSON. Start simple, then tighten the structure. Do not try to hand build a perfect JSON monster from scratch on your very first pass. If you remember just one thing from all of this, remember this: the magic is not in fancy adjectives. The magic is in separating decisions. Whole image, style, background, main object, support objects, text layers, then placement. Once you see it that way, these prompts stop feeling complicated because they are really just organized visual thinking. So what is my verdict? The model is every bit as amazing as people say it is. What holds it back is that it is only text to image. It serves as an amazing starting point for a project, but that brings us to the second issue. It is not open source, it is open weight. You cannot use it commercially, and if you think about it, that is the part that would be a game changer. Just imagine an open source model this powerful. All I can think about is all the websites that appeared after Flux was released. At least Black Forest Labs gave us two really capable versions, one open source version and one commercial version. Who knows, maybe Ideogram might do the same. Prompting would have been the next issue, but that problem is mostly solved by the simplicity of use that comes with QGIS Prompt Builder. So not open source, but free to use for playing around and learning. Anyway, thanks for being with me throughout the video. Like and sub for more. You can pick up the workflow in the description below and keep building great stuff with Comfy. This is the Sneaky Robot. See you in the next one.